and shows the lead on his iPad. He does his presentation on his iPad. He's got lead behinds. He shows the client on his iPad as well and gives it to him. That's his style, and he does very well. So I will not sit here and tell you, you need to have an iPad. You need to have this. You just need to have the materials in the form that you want to use it to where you convey a point to a client where they trust you and they want to buy from you. That's basically the bottom line. Now, when you go to a client's house, I do not want you to start talking about your favorite company up front, because the mere fact is that the client may not qualify for that program. So if you start talking about your favorite carrier and you start telling them all the sexy things about it, and you find out that they don't qualify for it, now you got to backtrack. So I kind of want you to take a step back when you go into a home, and I want you to kind of assess the situation. Now, do you have the height weight charts either printed out or do you have it on your iPad? Agent called me 2 weeks ago, and said, Joe, I wrote this person here. I wrote their height weight down, and it got kicked because the person was a pound over the weight. Why can't they just do me a favor? They're only 1 pound over. Well, here's the bottom line. Are they going to give you a break? No. They have rules and regulations that they have to adhere to, and we're supposed to learn that stuff to put the client with the correct company. He's all mad at the carrier now because the client weighed 1 pound more, and he's oblivious. He's all mad because the carrier's terrible. I said, can I be straightforward with you? After he calmed his jets down and he was all upset, I said, do you have the height weight chart? No, Joe, I didn't bring it with me. So I said to him, it's your fault. You messed up. The carriers have the information there for you to where you can use. You need to take advantage of the money they've spent on you to help you make sales. Now, let's say you go to a house and you don't have your height weight chart for whatever reason. And if you don't, shame on you. You know you can write Royal Neighbors. You can write Transamerica with no height weight questions. Or you can write a guaranteed issue because they don't ask you any questions. They just want to know their name, date of birth, Social Security, and who's the beneficiary, and the checking account. You have to have the height weight chart. You have to have the RX list for every carrier. United Home Life has no RX list. Royal Neighbors has a list, but it's not a long list. It's a very shortcut list. Okay? You need to get Foresters, Americo, Transamerica. They've got the most extensive list out there. So if you go to a client's house and they're on a medication and you don't see it on any of the lists because it could be a brand new medication, you need to look it up in your smartphone to see what it's used for. If the client says that they don't have anything wrong with them and you bring up a medication that you don't see on your list, yet when you go to your smartphone and you see it's for COPD, it doesn't mean that it's approved. What it means is that they have COPD medication, so you got to be smart and you got to sit and think about, why am I doing it this way? Why am I going to try to sneak in an application when the client clearly shows me a bottle for COPD, but then call me and tell me, Joe, well, it's not on the list. Okay? Now, everybody on this phone call is smart. Everybody knows that if a medication is used for a certain illness, it doesn't matter whether it's on the list, not on the list, italicized in capital letters, it's still something that the person has wrong with them. So whether it's on the list or not, and it's there, you need to use your kukutsa and do the smart thing to get the client issued. So number one, height weight. Number two, the RX list. Number three, you got to know the agent guide. You have to know what it goes up to. You have to know where to place the client at. Had a call about 3-4 weeks ago on commissions. Different carriers have different commission schedules. Some carriers have commission schedules that are the same from 50 to 80, 50 to 85. Some carriers go from 50 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 85. The commission goes down. You need to know what those are so when you're in a home and you have a client that is in perfect health, nothing wrong with them, instead of you saying, well, I'm going to put them with this carrier here, you may sit and think, well, you know something? Oh, Joe said something about my commission, the money that goes in your checking account? What about if I was to sit and say, Perfect Health, let me go with this carrier, because I'm going to get paid 30 points more in commission? I'd carry that stuff around with me. I'd have it either on my iPad or have it in a little cheat sheet form to where you know what's best for you, okay? Number 4, do you order from the carriers the actual little leave-behind forms that they have? Carrier brochures. To me, when I'm doing a presentation, I like to show that paperwork, because now what it does, it validates who you are representing. Rural Neighbors, probably one of my favorite carriers, has a lot of great brochures. Americo has great brochures. So you have to ask yourself, do I have brochures so when I go to their houses? Do I have a memorial guidebook from Rural Neighbors, or do I have it from Americo? Because this is what people